welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see, the Corvette has the hood open, and behind me, the SS has the hood open. Well, you might be wondering, well, why are both cars open? Well, we need to kind of tear apart both cars to try one more time this little throttle body here. Now, you guys already know that I've done 2 videos on this. I did a video on the SS, I did a video on the Corvette on this, and it didn't work for either. Well, long story short, I was at Streetcar Takeover Charlotte just a few months ago, and I was just walking through the pits, and I happened to start talking to a guy with a CTSV. It was just an LSA wagon with some mods on it, and I noticed he had a black throttle body on the car. Started talking to him and found out it was not a Nick Williams. It was indeed one of these cheap aftermarket ones from overseas. And he said, yeah, it was wired wrong. If you had ordered it from this one vendor during this specific time period, the throttle body itself was actually pinned wrong. So I was like, he said, make sure you join. I think the Facebook group is CTSV versus the world. They've got 2 or 3 threads in there that are super in-depth, and you know, people have had a lot of success with these cheap throttle bodies. I was like, okay. So after Streetcar Takeover, I joined that group, found the thread. Lo and behold, come to find out, there was actually miswiring on these throttle bodies, because I think it was like, if you bought the throttle body in November of 2018, yeah, end of 2018 into early 2019, if you bought it then, they were actually manufactured wrong. So I was like, okay, so what was the resolve? Well, the seller, the eBay seller that sells these, actually worked with a bunch of the CTSV guys. And so he basically came up with, you just have to repin the throttle body harness on the car. I was like, okay, that's not that big of a deal. Let's go ahead and try it. So finally I've had time, now that we got the car inspected and everything is up and running for the most part. And I was like, well, before we go get it retuned, let's go ahead and give this throttle body, you know, I guess 3 strikes you're out, 3rd time's the charm, either one of those, and we'll see if this works. So what we're gonna be doing today is actually ripping off the throttle body extension harness off of the SS and putting it onto the Corvette. Now, I will be putting the throttle body harness back on the SS. I just don't want to tear up the throttle body harness on the Corvette, just because, you know, it's simpler. I can work on it on a bench, and it's just easier to work on. So let's go ahead, get the throttle body harness off that car, and show you what we're gonna do. All right, so here's the throttle body extension harness off of the SS. It is an LS3 based, you know, extension harness. It's not super complex. And I've already taken off of the zip tie that was on the end, as well as kind of just pulled back the harness. We're gonna show you what we gotta do here. Now, before we go ahead and get started, I did pick up a 3-piece weather pack toolkit. I got this on Amazon, and I think it was around $10. The manufacturer is 18 Performance, and it basically has your weather pack, pin removal, you know, these 2 pins in my hand, and as well as the kind of the gasket pusher with the round tube on the end. And I'll have a link down in the description below to this tool set. You will need a set similar to this. If not, just pick up one of these sets. So the first thing we're going to need to do is actually remove this gray harness cover that's inside the connection here. So you just pop one end, pop the other end, and boom. There you remove the pin cover that's inside the connection. Now, where this is wrong is it's the top left and middle on the top of the harness. That's where it was miswired. So what we're gonna have to do is push out this pin and this pin. So if the plug is plugged in like this to the throttle body, like I was saying, it's gonna be the top row, the far left, and the middle pin. We're gonna depin these and go ahead and plug everything back in. Now that we have the harness depinned and swapped, we're just gonna plug this into the throttle body, and then we're gonna plug this end just into the car, and we'll have the throttle body loose so that you guys can see it opening and closing from the driver's seat. As you guys can see, we have the throttle body plugged in and it's facing me. So what I'm gonna do now, the car is in accessory mode, and we are going to try to pump the gas to see what it does. All right, as you guys can see, the throttle body is opening in correlation to my foot moving. I don't think you guys can see that. Oh, my foot's moving, but So just know that my foot is moving and the throttle body is actually opening up as it's supposed to. So it's going all the way open, but at least it's trying to open it, not unlike it used to. All right, well, that's a good demonstration of our rewiring job working. All right, and there you go. We finally have a throttle body that works. Lo and behold, it's been miswired this entire time. It's unfortunate. I couldn't have told PCM that like 8 months ago when I had the car at the dyno shop. Was it actually 8 months ago? Yeah, it's August now. It was January when the car was in the shop, so wow. But what we're gonna do now is actually remove the stock throttle body. We'll put the 102 on, and we're just gonna see if this thing will fire up. I don't know if it will. And what I'm going to do is actually try to have the car running and try to pump the gas a little bit and show you guys like try to get a point of view on there so that you guys can see the throttle body opening, you know, with me trying to use the throttle pedal. So let's go ahead and get the throttle body swapped, and we're not going to put the intake on. This is just going to be one fire up, and if we have to clear any codes, that's fine. But I will say this, the car will go into like a limp mode or limp home mode if you try to go 100% throttle. It will throw a check engine light. I'm 100% positive of that, but if we can keep it like half throttle and at least just even try to have it open, if that works, then we may go ahead and when we get the car retuned, we'll include this throttle body and we'll go ahead and see if they could have better tuning success this time than they did the previous time. Alright guys, as you just saw, the 102mm throttle body ran the car just fine. Now like I predicted, we were going to get a check engine light, a reduced engine power, limp mode, whatever you want to call it. That did come into factor, but basically what I was reading on, these throttle bodies are like 85% is 100% throttle, and stock is like 82%, 100% throttle, so that when you press the gas all the way, it goes to 85, and there's a very tight threshold for the, you know, throttle percentages on these things, and that's why this car will need a tune. Now I didn't clear the code, but I just let it sit for a little bit, fired it back up. It did start idling just fine, driving just fine, so we should be good. Now I am going to put the stock throttle body back on just due to the fact I do want to test drive this car more. I do want to do more upgrades, but whenever we get our dyno date set and on the books, I will drive this up there on a stock throttle body, swap the throttle bodies in the parking lot again, and we should be good to go. I'm just glad that we were able to get the basic wire harness figured out and those two pins switched. Also, I am going to stick the extension harness back on the SS because on the LSA swap, you can't run the stock throttle body harness length. So you do need to run extension harness on that. You don't need it to on the E-Force. So that's going to be it for part 3 of the 102mm throttle body install. We will obviously post results once we get everything dyno tuned and everything up to snuff. The car really does need a tune because it is struggling with low throttle, you know, like when I'm pulling up to a stop sign, it still dies. And it's not because of the electricity, it's because of the tune. Like the car just loses throttle and it gets to a certain point and it just dies cruising into a stop sign. So be on the lookout for that update in a future episode, and we'll go from there. So if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. If you want to know when I upload new content, hit the bell notification button down below. And as always, if you guys want to help support the channel, go to BonecrrusherSS.com. That's our store. Has our stickers, key tags, shirts, all that good stuff. And all that goes right back into help supporting builds, projects, and stuff for the channel. So thanks, guys. Have a